Okay, welcome everybody to the fifth part of Salima project's online info session. And today we have here Hanna Kinnunen from Familia ry, and the topic today is the multicultural families and everything that comes with it. So this is just a reminder again, there's one more tomorrow, one more date at the same time, and tomorrow is the talk is about divorce. So now I will stop sharing my screen and Hanna, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm just gonna, okay, just a moment, there you go. Okay, now I think you can see my
Yes.
Okay, slides. Okay, well, hello, and yes, it's still a good morning to everyone. My name is Hanna Kinnunen, and I work for Familia. I've been actually working for Familia for, I think, 14 years. I started as the project manager for the Duo project that developed activities for intercultural couples and families. And then the first Duo project was 5 years long, and then the second part 4 years long, after which Familia's activities for intercultural couples and families got permanent funding from STEA, and since that I have been working as the officer in Familia, and I've specialized in intercultural issues and intercultural couples and families. I'm originally from Joensuu, but I've lived in London for 5 years and in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania for 1 year before moving to Helsinki. And I'm here today as a guest speaker of the Salima project and Amal ry, and I would like to thank for this opportunity also Janika, who's here with us today. But yes, today I'm talking about intercultural couples and families. But before I go into that, I just give you a quick introduction to Familia. And just a moment, I'm just trying to see where can I move the slides? Oh, there you go. Good. Okay, I'm just gonna move that. Okay. So Familia ry was founded in 1988, and we are a national organization. All of our activities are online also. So we are the national expert organization of intercultural families. Our target group, I suppose customers or clients, although I don't like to call people in this sense clients or customers, but the people we serve and develop and our activities and services for other intercultural couples and families and people in Finland. And we aim to support their well-being by offering different kinds of activities, peer-led activities. We also have, we train volunteers, we offer information, we have advice services, but actually on the next page, there is a list of some of the activities we offer. So, for example, we have Duo family training, and Duo family training has been part of our activities since the beginning of the first Duo project. Duo family training is meant for intercultural couples expecting a baby. The couples taking part in Duo family training are usually couples who are expecting their first baby. Before the Corona crisis, all our family training groups were face-to-face meeting groups in Helsinki. So they met in our offices that are at the moment in Kallio or Sörnäinen, depending on who you ask, but in Lintulahden katu in Helsinki. But then when the Corona restrictions came into place, we started to organize Duo family training groups online. even though we are again able to organize the face-to-face groups, we are also continuing the online groups because of the good experiences we got from them. So one can take part in dual family training whether they live in the metropolitan area of Finland, so they can come to the face-to-face meetings, but they can also take part in the online family training wherever in Finland, or indeed maybe sometimes abroad they live. And the dual family training, they are English-speaking groups. They are facilitated by the family as workers, and they complement the family training offered by Neuvola, which means that we concentrate in the family training, we concentrate on intercultural parenthood, intercultural relationships, and how to support the language development of intercultural children, and also the identity development of intercultural children. And then we also actually have a dual family training online course in English that there's videos and homework and quotes from intercultural couples, and that can be found from our website. Then we have the peer groups, for example, dual mother and baby groups that are meant for the mothers of intercultural families and their under 1-year-old babies, and then dual fathers groups. Also, the family meetings that go by the name of dual living room. They are more like, I suppose, perhekahvila or family cafes. Different kinds of workshops and webinars. Next week, we are going to, for example, have 2 lectures in English, couple matters lectures about relationship issues. It's the relationship week next week, and one in Finnish. And then on the 3rd week of November, we are going to have the Duo Families 1, 2, 3 series, where this time we are concentrating on the language strategies of multilingual families and the identity development of intercultural children and youth. Then just this autumn, we started a new project, the Bilingual project, that develops activities and family network for multilingual families, clubs and workshops and online courses and material. All of this can be found. For example, the online courses, we have the dual family training course, but we also have dual divorce course for couples, for intercultural couples or people who are contemplating a divorce or who are divorcing or who may have already divorced, and then an intercultural communications course. So what is an intercultural family, or what are intercultural families? There's spelling mistakes, apologies for that. Intercultural relationships among couples are increasing steadily in Finland and worldwide. About 5 to 6% of Finnish families are intercultural. When we talk about intercultural families, I would say that the only thing all intercultural couples have in common is that the partners were born in different countries. So it's a union of 2 people from diverse cultures as well as different countries. When we talk about multicultural families, it is often thought as the kind of more like the general term that would cover, for example, intercultural families, but also couples and families who have moved into Finland from another country, but the partners would have been born in the same country. Or then maybe, for example, families with adopted children who come like international adoption and those families. So a multicultural family is more like the general term that covers intercultural couples and families, but in intercultural couples and families, the partners have been born in different countries. In most not all, but in most intercultural families, also the couple speaks different mother tongues, and often they also speak a third language to each other. And then the children of intercultural families are often bilingual or multilingual. I remember when I started working for Familia, there were about 56,000 intercultural couples living in Finland, and today there are more than 90,000. So the number has really increased in Finland, and it still continues to steadily increase. And I don't think the reasons are kind of, there's no mystery in why there is this increased number of intercultural families. People these days, we just have more opportunities to move about in the world, to travel, study, work globally, and then sometimes we meet a person who we like from another country. We fall in love with them, and then we form a relationship with them. So I think it's just the increased opportunities to meet people from other countries and cities. The intercultural marriages, and here we are talking about then the marriages, because in this number, in this 90,000, actually I would, maybe I need to specify a little bit that in this 90,000 couples, there are both those couples where a Finnish-born partner has a foreign-born partner, and then about 10,000 of those couples where both partners have been born outside Finland, but in different countries. And this number includes the married couples, cohabiting couples, and those couples who are in registered relationships. But Väestöliitto, the Family Federation of Finland, did a research, or they called the Perhebarometri, Family Barometer, a few years ago. And in their research, where they studied the intercultural marriages of Finnish men and Finnish women, they found that there is a difference in the marriages. For example, the foreign spouses of Finnish men are they especially hail from countries like Thailand, Russia, and Estonia. Whereas the Finnish women, there is no particular concentration of spouses, countries of origin. Also, the Finnish men who enter intercultural marriages do so at a relatively older age compared to men in Finnish marriages. And they are a little bit more likely to be widowers or divorced. The Finnish women, though, who enter into intercultural marriages are more likely than other Finnish women to be marrying for the first time. And their marriage age corresponds with the average marriage age of Finnish people. I think there was this kind of stereotype where people meet if they are in intercultural marriages, but this research also showed that that is actually not the case. So people in intercultural marriages usually became acquainted while the Finnish partner was abroad for reasons of work or study. And relatively few foreign spouses had met, for example, via the internet. But just like for Finnish couples, that is also more common these days. In the Väestöliitto, so the Family Federation's research, in 2 of 3 marriages, the foreign spouse moved to Finland as the consequence of the relationship or the marriage. And in only 1 of 3 marriages had the partner, she or he, lived in Finland prior to getting married. So often people in intercultural relationships are also called love migrants, or it can be called love migration, because the migration happens because of the relationship, because of love. And then also this research showed that compared to Finnish marriages, couples in intercultural marriage are as or even more satisfied with their relationship. So there is a somewhat higher frequency of conflict or arguments in the relationships, but For example, conflicts over the upbringing of children are no more common among intercultural couples than among other couples. And generally speaking, couples are very happy with their relationships. The research also looked into how happy people are, not just within the relationship, but how happy they were living in Finland. And the majority of the couples interviewed and studied for that research thought that they would still be living in Finland in 5 years. And the willingness to migrate was somewhat higher among highly educated Finnish respondents. But most of them were really happy to be living in Finland. Finland was thought to be a safe country to raise a family. A lot of people also spoke about, and a lot of people are also intercultural couples I have met have been speaking about how they feel that there is the work-life balance and the other life, or the family life balance, is good in Finland, and the neuvola system and the schools and kindergartens. And so I suppose the overall life quality, a lot of people say that, or feel that it is good in Finland, and that's why they plan to make their home and live here permanently. Well then, what is culture? When we talk about intercultural couples, I would like to still kind of underline that the only thing in common among all intercultural couples is that no matter where they live, no matter what country they live in, at least one of the partners is living outside his or her home country. Unless they, of course, if they live in a third country, then both of them are, but there's no situation where they can live in the country where they were both from. Culture in this sense, or in every sense, for everyone really, that it is all the information that is passed on from one generation to the next. And it's also like they are these cultural scripts that we often do not really think about, or that we take for granted. We think that they are normal, and sometimes it is only through difference that we realize that something in our own way of doing things is different, or it may not be normal for everyone. And many times intercultural couples are asked the question that what kinds of cultural differences do you have? And for many intercultural couples, it is really difficult question to answer, because they don't really consider themselves as intercultural. I mean, they're just a couple. They're two people who are together. It's not that they every day think that, I am in an intercultural relationship. And some couples never think that way. They are just a couple. But yes, sometimes this question is asked, but often when they do talk about the cultural differences, they talk about the positive sides of that. So they talk about the richness it has brought into their lives, the cultural richness with the traditions and holidays, and having family in another country, or in other countries, continents. And so it's more often than not, there is no idea that the cultural difference would be a problem or an issue of conflict, but a source of richness and something that adds to your life instead of takes away. And this is my attempt to show also that culture is a complex phenomenon, and when we talk about intercultural couples and people who are in intercultural relationships, first of all, we are not in a relationship with a culture. We are in a relationship with a person, with an individual. And the bottommost kind of box in there that says culture, it could also say individual culture or personality. And all these different boxes, and this is just some of it, makes a difference to who we are and what is our personal culture, our personal identity, our personality. So age, of course, has a role to play, and also we change through age. So we have all been different when we were 10, when we were 18, when we were 30, and when we were 40, and so on. The gender and gender roles, they make a difference. Language and communication skills, personality and temperament. And temperament, for example, is a biological thing. So for example, children or babies are not born tabula rasas, but they already have their individual temperament. Of course, in different countries and in different cultures, different kinds of temperament traits are valued. For example, and this is again generalizing, but I suppose, for example, and I don't just suppose, but also research shows that for example, in Japan, children who are more shy and reserved, they get more kind of positive reinforcement to those traits. Whereas in, for example, the United States of America, children who are more kind of extroverts, more sociable, more loud, they get positive reinforcement for that behavior. So the way we see temperament and temperament traits can differ based on the culture and the society where we live in. Education, social class, all our previous experiences in life, religion, worldview, ethnic background, values, environment and time, social networks, and family background. All of this is something that makes and that's why I think it is really, really difficult for people in intercultural relationships also to say that what is a cultural difference? What do you even mean by culture? And what is then down to, for example, personality and temperament, and what is down to the culture of your family, of the extended family, of the larger kind of the society you live in, the subculture, and then yes, it's a complex phenomenon. Dugan Romano, in her book Intercultural Marriages, Promises and Pitfalls, mentions these following themes that may cause a difference between the couple, the intercultural couple, or that the couple may need to negotiate and compromise with. But again, these are just examples, and these are just, but I would say though that in intercultural relationships, there may be more layers, and some of those layers of difference, and some of those layers, even though what I just said, that often these layers of difference, they add richness and they actually add something to their life, but there's always a potential that one of these layers, for example, in these different fields, is then a kind of a layer that you realize, okay, this is a difference that we see differently, we maybe expect different things, we may want different things, and that we have to talk about this, find what is important to ourselves, explain that to our partner, and then find another way, a compromise, or indeed a totally new way of doing things. And this is something that is often referred to as the third culture. So that for intercultural couples, they can combine what is good in their personal cultures. So from the previous slide, all that makes them who they are, so that the positive sides of those personal cultures, and then in some areas creating something new. And for many intercultural couples, they also say how they feel that being in an intercultural relationship or family gives them kind of the permission. I suppose they don't need a permission, but they feel like they are free from certain cultural expectations, that they are able to do things differently, the way they want to do things. And for the couples who come to, for example, do a family training, I often tell them that all over the world, wonderful, beautiful children are being brought up in different ways. So it is not so much that there is one way to do things perfectly or rightly and all others are then wrong, but it is that the couple finds a way that works for them and their family. That is the key. So building a third culture. The role of the expatriate partner is not an easy one, no matter how willingly chosen or how second nature it has become, because it is always that second nature, not first. And especially in the beginning, when, for example, the foreign partner or the expatriate partner moves into the new country, they may feel frustrated with not knowing how things work, not knowing what products to buy from the store, or with the difficulties of learning to function effectively in another language. And according to other, sometimes the rules, either written or unwritten. And right alongside a perfectly happy relationship or marriage, there can be this sense of loss for the identity or for the independence or the life or the people left behind. And often these things surface when people become parents. So, for example, for my master's thesis, I graduated from the University of Eastern Finland. And for my master's thesis, I studied 10 people who had moved to Finland because of their Finnish partner. And all of them said that the biggest stressors for them had been Finnish language. So they all felt that if you don't know how to speak Finnish, you can't fully integrate in here. They also talked about initially that having left their friends behind, that had been difficult, finding new friends and finding a new social support network from Finland. And then the third thing that they said had been stressful in the beginning had been the loss of independence. Of course, all of these areas had then become better as the time had passed, but still these were initially during the first few years. But then a lot of them also said that even though they had not really missed their kind of families or the siblings or their mothers and fathers, it had changed when they had become parents. So then they had felt, for example, a pang of sadness that they weren't able to share their children's or their parents' grandchildren's lives together as actively and regularly as would have been possible if they had been living in the same country. So this international aspect, or in Finnish we call it ylirajainen, and I don't remember now what it is. It's not, I suppose, cross-border aspect of intercultural relationship is often present after or becomes more present and emphasized when if the couple has children. So after the birth of the baby, someone who has never missed his or her family now wishes that he or she would be able to share the everyday life together with baby with them. And some also feel sadness that they are not able to give or provide their baby or their child the same experiences than they had when growing up. And others may feel that they have been left out, that somehow maybe the professionals or people in the neuvola or kindergarten only speak to the Finnish partner. And then also there are people who later on say that they have this kind of little bit, this feeling, this sadness that they feel a little bit like they have lost their child to the Finnish culture, because in Finland, of course, the Finnish language and all the Finnish traditions and customs, they are everywhere, and sometimes some of them feel like that it's a bit too much, that it can be overwhelming, even though at the same time appreciating all the things, and it's not like it's pure sadness, but there can be also sense of that living alongside with the happiness and satisfaction. Intercultural families are almost always also multilingual, which means this is something I already said, that they often speak different mother tongues, and there often is a third language, often English, that the couple speaks to themselves, and that the children brought up in intercultural families, they are then bilingual or multilingual. Often people I meet in for example, in the dual family training groups, the couple, they kind of have a very, first of all of them want to raise their children bilingual or multilingual, but they often kind of speak about teaching their language to the child. And of course, like, well, not of course, but multilingualism, the simultaneous multilingualism or bilingualism, the multilingualism that you start to gain from the moment you are born, it has to be a lifestyle. It's not just a skill that you teach to your children, but it's a lifestyle. It's something that you do, and you learn a language by speaking, by using it, by hearing it, by getting reasons why should you speak it, that children need to have the opportunities to use all languages that are present and that are important in the families. Here's a quote from Annika Bourgon. I'm sorry, I'm not very good in pronouncing French, but Annika she has two bilingual children. I suppose they are, well, they are bilingual by the family. I'm sure that they speak other languages as well, but Annika has been speaking Finnish to the children, and her husband French, and she has also studied this and written a book to show practical ideas for multilingual families. And in her book, she says that there's a common belief that children are sponges who can simply absorb two languages from their environment. It sounds promising, but each family's situation is different. Sponges can only absorb when dipped in water, not thin air or goodwill. Well, here are just a few definitions of bilingualism. So a bilingual person speaks two languages with equal or nearly equal fluency. And like I already said, that two languages at the same time, that is called simultaneous bilingual, lingual or lingualism. And then, for example, if you learn or if you speak one language at home and then school, maybe another one, then that is successive bilingual. Or maybe that, for example, you live in one country the first few years of your life and you learn that language, and then you move to another and you learn that language, then that can also be called a successive bilingual. But there isn't just one definition of bilingualism, and this idea that one would have a perfect knowledge of any one language does not exist, even, like it says here, not even for a monolingual person. So the most important definition of bilingualism or multilingualism for your family is the one that you make. So the languages that you feel are important, and the languages that, or the language that you would like to pass on to your child. Bilingualism or multilingualism, we can think of them as synonyms in here. It is a possibility, but it's not on automation. So one has to, the parents have to invest on it, and children have to, like I said, that they have to have reasons to speak it, opportunities to speak it and to use it. And there's this idea of, I'm not sure if it works in Finnish or in English, but dialogue parenthood or dialogical, I'm not sure if that's a dialogical parenthood, but meaning that if you speak to your children, if you communicate with them, if you give them, you read to them and you sing to them, you rhyme with them, I mean that language and words are present in their lives, then that is the best way to support the language development of any child, but in particular, I would say then the language development of bilingual or multilingual children. And especially the minority language needs extra support. So in Finland, I suppose a minority language is any other language than Finnish or Swedish or Sami in the north. English maybe is also quite easy because it seems that it's everywhere, but the other minority languages, they actually need extra care and extra attention and resources in the family. Then an intercultural child is one that is exposed to more than one culture for their entire life through her or his parents. And like I said earlier, this often will involve more than one language and a combined set of cultures in the widest of terms, so the personal cultures of the parents. The child of my previous colleague, when his parents, they often introduced him and his brother to other people that this is our child and he is half Finnish, half Turkish. And when the child was about 8 or 9, he once said, "I'm not half anything, I'm fully me." And that is the one thing that I think is good to remember, that intercultural child is more than just the sum of her or his parts. So they are not 50-50% people. They are not half-half. Some people say that they are 150% people, that there's 50% from the other parent, 50% from the other, and then 50% of something that is their own. There's, for example, in one research, 4 different identity forms were presented that the children of intercultural families may adopt. So there were the majority group identifiers. So those children who as children or young people or adults would identify most strongly with the majority culture of that country. Then there were the minority group identifiers, but it wasn't necessarily the culture of the other parent. It could be another kind of minority culture in that country. Then there were the universalists, none of the above. So I suppose children or young people who felt that they were more like world citizens, not that nothing would apply to them, that they kind of felt that, I'm not this or that, I'm a universalist, I'm a citizen of the world. And then there were the synthesizers who felt, I suppose, mostly that, there's part of me is from here, part of me is from there, and then there's part that is something of my own. So people who would kind of combine one part of the other parent, one part of the other, and then something. But of course, identity is not something that is fixed. It is situational. It's different from in different life situations. When we are, well, very young people, very young children don't really think about identity issues at all. But it's not something that is fixed or permanent. It's also fluid, and it changes throughout life and in different situations. Well, then what the parents of intercultural families can do along the way. Although the children's identity will develop automatically as they grow, in order to make it as strong and positive as possible, there are many things that parents can do. They can offer continuous help and support throughout the children's lives. This will take a great deal of consideration, but it will also offer plenty of enjoyable work, if you want to call it, just like bilingualism or multilingualism. But the rewards are incredible. And the thing, for example, what intercultural people, so adults or young people who have been brought up in intercultural families, for example, what they possess is intercultural competence. And often they speak about a different way of seeing the world and life, that they have this ability to empathize with different groups and to have a more kind of open view on things, that they have this, well, the intercultural competence. And I think that the kind of the most important thing for parents to do is to give their children positive examples of their personal cultures, but also other cultures, so that they create this strong positive foundation. They give their children the opportunity, and plenty of opportunities, to feel proud and to of the background. And then the children, when they grow up, they will find their own way, and sometimes it is about accepting that way. It may not be exactly what we had in mind, or what the couples had in mind, but this is for every parent. But when the foundation is positive and is strong, then the rest of the way is often also better. And then there are a few quotes from the parents of intercultural families. So, for example, a mother of an intercultural family has said that the best part is that my kids belong to two cultures, which they love and embrace. And then a father who has said that we need more different colors in our society. Intercultural families have a very important role to play. And then another mother who has said that intercultural families have a great possibility to bring up a new, open and tolerant generation. Here I would like to show also the booklet that we have written, Love and Parenthood in an Intercultural Family, that is available in English, Finnish, French, Russian, Spanish and Thai language, and it can be downloaded and printed free from our website. And that actually then concludes the presentation bit today. There is links to our website. For example, there's the Dual Family Training online course that you can find from that link. Familia is on Facebook and in Instagram as well. So if you follow us in there, you will get information as also, of course, from our website, but in there also, and we share like articles, interesting articles, and use it on our social media as well. And then there is the blog and the library pages that we have, the library has more kind of you can find research material from there, and more kind of like official things. And then in the blog there are people living in intercultural families who have written about their experiences, so I would recommend that you also go and check those. But thank you, everybody. And now if there are questions or comments, then we have a moment for those as well.
Thank you, Hanna, very much. I think it was very informative. And there was one question. I don't know if you can see that. I can read it.
Yes, in chat. Yes.
Yeah, in chat. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna and thank you, Grace, for the question. So the question is that, how would you suggest parents of mixed families to give the freedom to their children which culture to adapt, or to help them explain to their children to adapt who they are as third culture? I'm not 100% sure if I understand that question correctly. How would I suggest to give the freedom? Because all I would say that the freedom is given. That I suppose what I would say that in the families, of course, the values that the couple has, the important values in their families, that they are present in a positive way. And then, I mean, that is just the everyday life that the family lives. And when it's kind of supporting the children, and when it's positive. So yes, I suppose in short, I would say that that think about what is important to you and your partner as a family, and to have those things then present in your family. And I suppose the freedom is something that when you have that kind of that foundation, and that is the way of your family, then children, when they grow up, then they leave home and they are what they are. But I think if you have built that positive foundation, like I said, then I suppose if that is the hope, then the children will also, when they are older, that they want to also then carry on those important things that their parents passed on to them.
Yeah, I think it comes down to giving the children like a strong foundation on your own morals, values, and beliefs, and everybody will eventually choose their own way of life. Even though, of course, as parents, we always try to give them what we think is best, but it's not always what they think. So I guess, I hope it answers your question, Grace. And at the moment, we don't have any more questions, but I have added this, or now I will.
You're welcome, Grace. And also, Grace, for you, I would recommend if you have, I'm just going to check from my mobile so that I don't give you the wrong date, but I think it's on the 18th of November. Let me just check so I won't give you the wrong. I'm just going to go on our website and check it. So on the, just a moment. Yes, so on the 18th of November, it's on Thursday from 11 till 12. We have Julia Despieux, who she is this is sometimes so complex to say, but she is, her other parent is Finnish and her other parent is Argentinian, but she was brought up in France. So she speaks, I think, 4 languages, and she's kind of multicultural and multilingual. But nonetheless, on Thursday, the 18th of November, she is in Duo Families 1, 2, 3, talking about her experiences living up in an intercultural family and how her identity was developed. And there's also time for discussion and questions in there. So if you are interested in listening to the expert by experience, then welcome to hear her talk in Duo Families 1, 2, 3 in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you for that information. And I realized that I was talking earlier, but my microphone was off. So thank you very much for this this talk. And I was saying that there's a link to a small, short feedback on the chat. And I would appreciate if everybody would just spend a couple of minutes on answering that. That would be very beneficial to us. And at the moment, we don't have any more questions here online. But this will be shared for a little while online, and I think that it's very important that you can just give your children what you think is important, and that's the base, and that's you can only do your best. And I think it's very important and interesting, also part of intercultural family myself. And it's like very important to the children to give them a strong base for their future. And I think it's very important topic. So thank you again, Hanna, for joining us. And thank you everybody who took part. And hopefully I will see some of you guys tomorrow again. So thank you very much. And I will see you later.
Yeah, have a lovely weekend.
You too. Thank you.